Hello and welcome to the Futures 3D video training series. My name is Jeff Christiana and this is video number 7 of the ReplicatorG 34 video series on how to load an object and generate Gcode. So let's go ahead and let's get into ReplicatorG 34. We're going to open that up. ReplicatorG has opened up, so let's go ahead and let's select something to generate Gcode. We can use our frog here. We can go in and let's go to the print these first area. I highly recommend going to print these first. There's a lot of fun stuff in here, and it definitely is a lot easier than some of the stuff to print without support material. Let's go ahead and do a let's do this snake. Okay, we got the snake on the screen. You see that there is no Gcode for this yet. I must have deleted this Gcode for this particular model. If there has never been any Gcode generated for this object, you'll see only model and no Gcode tab. There's two ways to generate Gcode. You can click generate Gcode from the buttons on the right, or you can go up to Gcode and go to generate and it'll bring up the same window. I normally don't do much with the menus up above. I usually just click on the button and then open it up. You can see that there is many different profiles, and what I've done here is I've gone through and made a layer, a 0.15 layer height for each one of our printers. Now the only thing that's different between these three is the center function. So if you go in and you print on a 12 by 12 using a 16 by 16, your center is going to be in the far upper right of the platform. It won't be off the platform, but it will be pretty far in the extreme upper right. If you've got a 16 by 16 printer and you print with a 12 by 12, your center is going to be in the far bottom left. So I would just use the profile that's for your machine, and I would even go into the profiles and delete out the ones that are not being used, and I can show you that in another video. Do some cleanup. But for now, what I've got here, I've got 0.15, 0.25, 0.35, 45, and 55. Now the nozzle that we ship with is 0.35. You can get 0.15 layer height with a 0.35 nozzle, so you don't need a smaller nozzle in order to print this. Now I'm talking layer height. We're talking layer upon layer. Basically, it's getting closer. Let me open up a MS Paint here real quick. Here I've got a side view of one of our prints, and you can see, this is sideways, you can see here that the layer height, you can see each individual layer. So if you're going to print something at 0.15, your layers are going to be extremely close to each other. They're going to be very close to each other. You print 0.25, they get a little farther apart. So let's just say this is 0.15, and you've got 0.25, 0.35, 45, and 55. And if each one of these is a layer looking from the side, you can see how a 0.15 will produce a much nicer looking print with having such tight lines, and a 0.02 layer is going to be extremely small, so it should almost be smooth. If you look at our, I think we've got some turtle examples on the website. Let's go out here and take a look at that. You can see here at 0.15 how smooth the surface is. If you start going down 0.25, 3.5, you can start to see the layer height. You start seeing each layer more and more. 4 or 5 is very evident that it's a much, you can see every single layer. This is a very small item, so a very small object. So, and here's 0.55. So you can see how rough the edges are. This 0.55 is a very small Gcode file, maybe 30 layers, 30-40 layers, prints extremely fast, probably within a minute. As you start working your way up, you keep doubling and doubling your layers. So as you get up to 0.15, you're extremely smooth, but this also took an hour to print because you've taken the Gcode that was, let's say, a meg, and you turned it into 30 megs of Gcode. So the smaller the layer height, the more Gcode you're going to generate, and the larger your file will get. But your prints come out looking very nice. Your Gcode generation time, you wait a long time for it to generate the Gcode as well, depending on how fast your machine is. So that's kind of a quick overview of what the layers are. And I've tried to, we're going to have different nozzle sizes, so I'm hoping to have nozzle sizes all the way up to 1 millimeter hole, so a person could print an extremely large object on our printers, especially our 18-inch high build height printers, and do it quicker than, see, 0.55 is about as much as I can do with a 0.35. It starts, the plastic just can't get out of this nozzle fast enough in order to do anything larger than 0.55. So what we do here is we go ahead and select a profile. We'll go ahead and select a, let's just do 0.15. Let's do, actually, let's do a 0.45, 16 by 16, and normally we'll leave the RAF support off, and the support material will leave it none. If you're going to use support material, you've got to check the use RAF support option. Those go together. Never check the use default start and Gcode. We're using the ones that are already in our profile directories. And the use print-o-matic said we're not going to be using that at all. You might want to play around with that. And then we say generate Gcode. Okay, the Gcode's about done. Down below in the status bar here, the status window, you're seeing that it's covering each section. It says it exported the file. Here's the following location. Took 1 minute 16 seconds to generate the Gcode, and dual toolpath generation complete. So here you have successfully created Gcode for a 0.45 layer for a 16 by 16 printer. And if you take a look at the Gcode, you've got your start, and I'm sure you've got your end. Scroll down to the end, and you are ready to print. Click the print and click the build button, and away you go. We'll see you in the next video.